We are not makers of history, we are made by history. In 1965, this truth echoed through the streets of Selma, Alabama, igniting a fire within countless citizens. This was not merely a march, it was a stand against systemic oppression. As the sun rose on that pivotal morning, anticipation filled the air, each participant stepping towards a future that hung in the balance. Selma, a small town with a painful legacy, became a battleground for civil rights. The scars of racial injustice ran deep as African Americans faced relentless struggles for voting rights. Registrars turned away hopeful voters, their dreams dashed by hatred and ignorance. This fight for equality captured the nation's attention. The Selma to Montgomery March emerged as a beacon of hope, strategically uniting diverse coalitions to confront these injustices. This march was more than an act of defiance, it was a masterclass in activism requiring meticulous planning. Martin Luther King Jr. and leaders like Bayard Rustin and John Lewis understood that unity was essential. They rallied support from across the nation, coordinating every detail, from securing permits to transportation for those who traveled miles to join the cause. The call for action resonated, attracting clergy and citizens from various backgrounds, each answering the call to stand against injustice. This march represented a bond forged in adversity, a reminder of their collective strength against systemic racism. However, a resistance loomed. Local authorities plotted to suppress this movement with brutal force. Yet, the spirit of the marchers was indomitable. They knew that silence meant surrendering to oppression. Their courage would soon be tested. With every step, they transcended personal fear, uniting under the banner of justice. Under King's leadership, they laid out a strategy, fully aware the eyes of the nation were upon them. Organizers anticipated risks but embraced them with determination. On March 7, infamously known as Bloody Sunday, thousands gathered at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, not mere individuals but a collective force, a diverse tapestry woven by purpose. Black and white, young and old, clergymen and activists stood ready to defy unjust laws that denied them dignity. They arrived ready for the long journey ahead, understanding that each footprint in the dust would mark a path towards liberty. As they approached the bridge, Alabama state troopers advanced toward them with chilling authority. The atmosphere electrified with tension. Armed with shields and batons, the troopers embodied intimidation. As the marchers stood resolutely, King's voice rang through their ranks, calling for peace and dignity, knowing violence would alienate their cause. "We will march again. We will not be turned around," he declared, instilling hope into every heart present. This defining moment solidified their struggle, echoing through history. The troopers ordered them to disperse, and chaos erupted. Tear gas filled the air, and batons swung mercilessly. The brutal images that emerged exposed the stark reality of racial violence. Blood was shed, but the spirits of those marchers soared higher. They endured, believing change was their destiny. Each gasp of pain transformed into a breath of resilience. Their blood mingled with the dirt, emblematic of sacrifice for a cause that was larger than themselves. Bloody Sunday thrust the civil rights movement into the national spotlight. The nation could no longer deny the horrors inflicted upon its citizens. Outrage prompted a call for action, uniting people across America. Newspapers splashed images of brutality across their front pages, prompting immediate reactions from the public. Activists and leaders were galvanized, and voices across the country cried out for justice, proclaiming that this was a moment that could not be forgotten. In the following weeks, King and his compatriots rallied support for a second march, inviting individuals nationwide to join their fight for justice. On March 21, they gathered in Selma, joined by a wave of supporters from all walks of life. The streets transformed into a sea of resilience, fueled by purpose and the belief that their actions would yield change. As they traversed the 50-mile stretch toward Montgomery, they encountered solidarity and shared purpose. The journey was fraught with potential danger. People whispered of possible confrontations with state troopers lurking in the shadows. Yet, their resolve was unshakable. Each evening, they camped overnight on the trail, sharing stories, laughter, and reflections that fortified their spirits. Each night, they sang freedom songs under the vast Alabama sky, their voices merging in harmony, a collective resonance of hope and determination. Each step reverberated with the weight of history, the echoes of countless souls who had fought before them. On March 25, they reached the Alabama state capitol, where King delivered one of his most powerful speeches, articulating a vision of justice that demanded a commitment to a brighter future. His words, filled with the fire of conviction, painted a picture of a nation united in purpose. "Let us march on ballot boxes until we have registered to vote," he proclaimed, each syllable a testament to their determination. In that moment, he transformed the march into a clarion call for justice, reminding them all that the fight was not merely about their own rights but about the fundamental rights of every American citizen. The Selma to Montgomery march solidified their resolve, proving unity and strategic planning could spark monumental change. This pivotal encounter on the bridge became a rallying cry for a nation. The brutal images broadcasted ignited outrage and solidarity. King's decision to return to Selma encapsulated a transformative strategy. The power of nonviolence was stronger than the fists of hatred. The march was a spiritual pilgrimage, inspiring thousands to join their cause, framing the struggle as a human rights issue that invited the nation to understand justice. As they marched, they expressed the hopes and dreams of African Americans who had long been silenced. Every step taken was a stride toward liberation. The Selma to Montgomery march was a powerful force of humanity, a collective voice that could no longer be ignored. The diversity of the marchers, young children, elderly, students, clergy, and activists symbolized a united front against an age-old oppression. Each person carried a story, burdens of discrimination, dreams deferred, and a burning desire for justice. Reflecting on Martin Luther King Jr. and the march reveals the echoes of determination resonating through modern society. The legacy they forged remains relevant today, catalyzing the Voting Rights Act of 1965, empowering African Americans to claim their rightful place in democracy. King's commitment to nonviolence and his dream of a just society continue to inspire movements against racism and inequality. As we navigate our modern landscape, we must remember that the principles established during those times demand action. King's vision speaks to our collective responsibility to foster equity and solidarity in the face of adversity. The strength of unity, the power of a shared vision, and resilience against injustice propel social movements forward, ensuring King's dream remains alive. In this moment of reflection, every step toward justice, every voice raised in solidarity, contributes to the fight for equality. How do we embody the spirit of Selma in our own lives? This legacy compels us to act, ensuring that the dream of a just society is not just an aspiration, but a living reality. In the words of King, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Let us carry forth this message, embracing the call to action with fervor, knowing the journey is far from over and each of us has a role to play.